Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Thursday SportsZone. I am your host, Jake Levine. I'm joined by Jay Lathan and Kenzie Neely. We are live from Denton, Texas, and we're going to start off this show by talking about some college football. Guys, how are we doing today?
Good.
Doing great, man. I'm doing great.
All right. I'm glad to hear it. Texas and Alabama had an amazing game over the weekend on Saturday in Tuscaloosa. Texas came out with a 10-point win, 34-24. First of all, I just want to ask you guys, are we surprised by this? Jay, are you surprised by the Longhorns win?
Not really. I've been seeing one thing that's constant is Texas has been having a progression. They've been getting great recruiting classes, but Alabama's been more so losing guys in the portal. That's why Saban's such a big proponent against it, because they're just losing the depth, and it shows. Milroe couldn't throw to save his life.
Yeah, Kenzie, what do you think? I mean, was Texas overplaying, or, was this Texas?
It's what you expect out of Texas is what we've been expecting for years now, but now they're finally getting to it. Their defense, their offense was crazy, so it was really good to see a Texas team actually do good. I'm not a big Texas fan myself. I could do without them, but they did really good.
Yeah, and the Texas offense that was just on fire, the head of that was Quinn Ewers. He had 24 for 38 passing, 349 yards, 3 tutties, and it was really just a pretty flawless game. I'm pretty sure no interceptions. Mm-hmm. So, guys, am I jumping a little too far here? Or is Quinn Ewers in the conversation for the Heisman Trophy? He just did that against Nick Saban's defense. Kenzie, am I jumping too far here?
Maybe just a little bit too early to say that, in my opinion. There's still a lot to go. We're just at the beginning of the season. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can keep this pace up. He is doing amazing, like you said. He did an amazing job with leading the offense this past game against Alabama. But it's going to be interesting to see if he can keep it going with all the teams we have coming up.
Jay, what do you think? Is Quinn Ewers in the Heisman conversation yet?
With that kind of a statement win, it's definitely something you want to add to your resume for a Heisman candidate. But the guys out west are not making this an easy win. You have Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter doing unbelievable things in Colorado. You have Caleb Williams trying to be the first back-to-back Heisman winner in a long time. And then you have a dark horse in Michael Penix, the quarterback out of Washington. And I think that it's going to be an interesting race for sure.
Yeah, it definitely will be a race that, everybody will have their eyes on starting in a few weeks. And so now Texas is ranked number 4 in the country, and that would place them in the college football playoff if the season ended right now. So, guys, I just want to ask, what are the chances that Texas finishes this off and actually makes the college football playoff? I know we're 2 weeks in, but I'm saying if the season ended today, it would happen. What are the odds, Jay?
You want to hammer down on that Texas being back, baby.
Is Texas back?
Bro, it just reminds you of your little Vince Young days, You had, but I think they have a good chance. Their schedule really isn't that strong. The toughest games, in my opinion, would be against ranked Oklahoma and K-State, the reigning Big 12 champions. And, if they can get through those 2 games, they can do anything.
Kenzie, what do you think? Does Texas have a shot here?
I think they definitely do. It's really early to see, like you said, but they do have a lot of competitors coming up and a lot of big contenders. They have, like you said, Oklahoma, and they have K-State, but there's also TCU, Kansas, others surprise teams that have done really good later on in the season. So it's going to be interesting to see if Texas can keep this momentum up and be able to play them.
Yeah, and we talked about Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter. They play for the Colorado Buffs, and they're doing special things out there in Boulder. I just want to ask, what is Deion doing for this program? What is Deion's impact on the University of Colorado? Jay, what do you think?
It's been stated time and time again that, Prime is doing something unexpected. They didn't even have the money to pay for this guy. So, to show out, the way they have, they really flipped the program around. I think I'm just going to be a believer in Prime. I got him hanging in my room. I think he's that guy.
Yeah, what do you think, Kenzie? What is Prime doing for Colorado?
He has put a whole new confidence in this team. They go onto the field and you can just see the confidence just coming out of them, whether it's their offense, their defense, the players on the sideline, the coaches. Everybody's happy to be there and they're excited to play some football, which you haven't seen from Colorado in a long time, if at all. So he's brought a new hype to this season. I'm really excited to see.
Definitely agree. They're hosting College Game Day against Colorado State this weekend. That will be certainly electric. Lastly, we're going to talk about the North Texas Mean Green. They have started the year 0-2, losing most recently to FIU. the defense has been the struggle, right, guys? So they're going to Ruston, Louisiana, to play Louisiana Tech. What is it going to take to get the first win of the season, get the first win under Eric Morris, Jay?
I think it's definitely going to take a boost on defense. We're going to have to learn how to tackle, man. That's first and foremost. Being able to stop the run so teams just can't stall the clock. And, you know, our offense it's the best thing we have right now. We need them on the field as much as possible.
Yeah, Kenzie, what do you think? What does UNT have to do to come out with a win?
Same thing, just upping that defense, making sure that we're there defensively. There's no reason why we should be having like an average of 50 points scored on us a game. That's kind of crazy. So, yeah, upping that defense. And also the offense needs some work a little bit too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've just been struggling with the tackling. The offense has been okay, but they're going to have to pick it up if they want to get a tough road win. So when we come back, we're going to be talking about the Cowboys and Jets game coming up. So stay right with us after this break.
It's that time of year where everyone plays a dangerous game with the flu. Going in uneducated, you run the risk of symptoms like cough, migraine, and fatigue. Don't be like this guy. Combat the flu with cough drops, ibuprofen, and a good night's sleep. Be smart, don't catch the flu.
Welcome back to Sports Zone. I am joined by Sydney Johnson and Taggart Kent, and we're going to talk about the Cowboys and the Jets game coming up. But first, we are going to recap the Cowboys game against the Giants. What a blowout. I mean, 40-0. I'm not sure anyone saw 40-0 coming. Taggart, what was your quick thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I think I'm glad that this game was on national television because the conversation by the national media all offseason was about Dak Prescott and a fluke interception season. And I think everybody got to see that the conversation should have been about this defense, which was already top 5 in points allowed and yards allowed, and how it only got better. And it went out there and showed it last night, or Sunday night.
Sunday night, yeah. Sydney, what did you think about this game?
Yeah, honestly, the game was pretty hard to watch. All jokes aside, I just think the Giants couldn't make anything happen offensively, defensively, and every little mistake that they made, the Cowboys were ready to capitalize on those mistakes. So, good win for the Cowboys, I guess.
Definitely. Perfect way to start the year if you're a Cowboys fan. So now they're playing against the other New York team at home against the Jets. Dallas is favored by 9 points in this game. What do we think about the Jets? So their entire course was kind of changed with the Aaron Rodgers Achilles injury. Sydney, what are your thoughts on the Jets? I mean, what does Dallas expect from them?
I feel like in their most recent game, it was pretty neck and neck. Honestly, they stayed in the game by running the ball. I do think that the team took a hit by losing Rodgers, especially so early. But if they're able to run the ball for the rest of the season, they may be okay. As far as facing the Cowboys, the Cowboys came out on fire. So I'm favoring them in this preview for sure.
Yeah, I agree, absolutely. I mean, the Jets, they still have a good defense at the end of the day. I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders anymore without Aaron Rodgers. But Zach Wilson isn't going to play as bad as people think he will. I know he started off rough last night, but once he kind of settled in, the Jets' offense wasn't as bad as I thought it would have been. But yeah, that front four is especially good, and I think they're one of the only defenses that can say that they have a front four that's dominant and 3 great linebackers. And I think it's going to be tough to run the ball, and I'm excited to see how Dak and the passing offense can get it going, because they didn't really need to on Sunday. And I think they're going to have a big game.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will about the Jets and the quarterback situation. The Jets are 1-0, and they just beat the Buffalo Bills, who are arguably one of the best teams in the NFL. So, I mean, say what you will, but the Jets are 1-0. So against this game, the Cowboys and Jets, who is your key player to watch, Taggart, from the Cowboys?
The analyst in me wants to go our left guard, Chuma Edoga, because he's going to have to face one of the best nose tackles in the league in Quinnen Williams, an all-pro. But the fan in me is super excited to see more of a matchup, and that's CeeDee Lamb versus Sauce Gardner. Yeah. CeeDee Lamb is one of the smoothest route runners in the league. He's super shifty in the open field. And Sauce Gardner is, in my opinion, one of the best corners in the league. I would say he's the best corner in the league. He's super physical, and I think it should be fun to watch. I'm a really big fan of CeeDee Lamb. I think CeeDee Lamb has the potential to be one of the best wide receivers in the league, and I think he can break out this year and really show it to people who are still doubting him for some reason.
Sydney, who are you looking out for?
Yep, he stole my answer. CeeDee Lamb has definitely been dominating the field so far. I think for the Cowboys, he's the one to watch. And as for the Jets, I would say Garrett Wilson has been killing it on the field. He's been one of their key players so far, so I would keep an eye out for him as well.
Yes, I definitely like the Garrett Wilson pick. You know, I'm just going to go generic here. Dak Prescott did not perform all that well against the Jets, let's be honest. 13 for 24, 143 yards and no touchdowns. So I think we're going to need to see a better performance out of him to be more confident about this offense. I mean, they didn't put up 40 points, actually. The defense scored more than half in that.
To be fair to Dak, they didn't really need to. It's actually the first time since 2018, week 2 against the Giants, that the Cowboys won a game where Dak didn't put up over 250 yards, which I think is a step forward for the Cowboys. To be able to win games where your quarterback isn't playing that great is something we haven't been able to say since probably the mid-90s when Troy Aikman was around. And when you look at the other great teams like the Niners and the Eagles just won a game where Jalen Hurts played horrible. The great teams can win games where your quarterback doesn't have to be like Superman.
Absolutely. I love that. I mean, if the Cowboys ever win without Dak playing all that well, Cowboys fans might start thinking it's their year again. So here we go. What are score predictions for this Sunday against the Jets, Sydney?
So like I said, I still think our Cowboys are going to come out on top. I'm assuming we're looking at like 14 to somewhere in the 20s. I'm going to say like 20, 28 maybe.
All right.
Yeah, that's my prediction.
Taggart, what do you think?
I think it's something similar. I don't think we're going to see a big blowout like we did on Sunday, but I think it's 24 to 14 Cowboys.
All right, I like that. And so, real quick, we have an NFL game tonight, actually. It's the Vikings and Eagles playing in Philadelphia. Do we have any quick thoughts on this game? Kirk Cousins is notably terrible in prime time. Is there any chance that changes?
I highly doubt it. That Vikings defense is still atrocious. The Eagles should run the ball all over them. They did hardly anything to upgrade in the offseason, and they were their big hole last season. I don't think Kirk breaks any stigma about him that he's a poor primetime performer. I still think he performs poorly. And I think Justin Jefferson goes crazy, though.
Sydney, what do you think? Vikings have any chance tonight on the road?
Honestly, I'm an Eagles fan, so I think the Eagles are going to just go out there and do what they need to do and knock the Vikings out of the running.
So is it the Eagles' division to win again?
Yes, I think it is. I'm going to say it is.
All right. Well, a lot of people watching this might not really agree with that, but, So I have one question for everyone. Cowboys win 40-0, absolutely dominant game. Could this be the Cowboys' year? Could it be?
Absolutely. I think this is the best squad we've had in years, and it showed on Sunday.
Sydney, could it be the Cowboys' year?
At the risk of Cowboys fans saying every year is their year, I do think the Cowboys look stellar this season. They're doing exactly what they need to do, so they just need to keep doing it.
I love that answer. It might not be the year, but they are looking stellar so far. When we come back, we're going to talk about some UNT Mean Green soccer, so stay right with us.
Live from UNT, it's Wheel of Culture.
Welcome back to Wheel of Culture. Our contestant is so close to solving this puzzle. But first, it's time to give the wheel a spin. Wow, you landed on London, one of the many places where you and your fellow students can go on a chance to experience new culture. But only if you can solve this puzzle.
I'd like to solve the puzzle. Study abroad.
That's correct. You just won yourself a trip to study abroad in London, England, and you can too. Just go to studyabroad.unt.edu to see deadlines and apply for scholarships. Get ready to study abroad.
Yeah, so we have to watch the next one before next class, right?
We do?
I think so, but it's not on Netflix and it's not on Hulu, so...
Man, I don't want to pay for that.
So what do we do?
You think there's a place we could go to get the movie?
I'm not sure, maybe?
Oh, there's a place to get the movie.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, it's right here on campus. Come on, I'll show you.
Welcome back to Thursday Night Sports Zone. I am your host, Jake Levine. I'm joined by Jose Moreno and Jalen Bullock, and we're going to talk about some UNT soccer. They are off to a 6-1 start with their only loss being to Texas Tech in Lubbock. Guys, quick thoughts on this team so far. Jose.
I think they're overrated. And before anyone gets on to me and everyone starts yelling, I mean, the combined record of all the opponents we've played this year, besides Texas Tech, was 17, 22, and 7. That's 17 wins, 22 losses, and 7 ties. A combined goal difference of -23. That means they were outscored by 23 goals pretty early in the season. Not a good look for our opponents. It looks like we're just beating a bunch of cans right now. Whenever we go up against someone with challenge, it's a really difficult game. We got blown out 6-1 in front of 20 screaming fans in the freaking Raider Dome. I don't think it's a home field advantage issue. I just don't think we're at that level yet. I think this is a great team that can reach conference play, maybe even the NCAA tournament, but God, I don't see them beating anyone that big. I think Memphis is going to roll us up and smoke us like some jerky.
Jalen Bullock, tell me your thoughts on this UNT soccer team.
Do you agree or disagree?
So, to a certain extent, I do agree.
People smoke jerky?
I do smoke jerky. It's a good way to do it.
Okay, Jalen, what do you think?
Yes, I do think they're a little overrated, but I feel like only UNT fans are overrating them. They aren't ranked nationally. But at Texas Tech, as we were talking earlier, Texas Tech is not ranked and losing 6-1. Of course, it was in Lubbock, but that is a little crazy. They were blowing out. They averaged 3 goals, a game. But they, as you spoke on, haven't faced anybody good besides Texas Tech, but not even nationally recognized.
I do agree. Our offense is on fire, and I do want to shout out someone that's been playing great, Summer Brown. I call her
she's a
burning Summer Brown. I mean, she is lighting up defenses and destroying teams left and right. 6 goals, 2 assists this season. I think she's an early candidate for an MVP.
Don't forget about Kate Burnell, though. She has 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 goal contributions as well. But yeah, I do think they're overrated. Oh, my bad. Sit up. I do think they're overrated a little bit, but I do think today's going to be a loss. But I do think they do have a chance to win the American, but today will dictate that in a lot of ways.
It will be. I mean, Memphis is a great team. I do agree with that, but I just don't think we're at Memphis's level yet. I think Memphis just got ranked #1 team in the entire region, #2 being Liberty, #3 being us. I mean, it's a great ranking for us, but I think Memphis is ranked 16. Texas Tech is ranked roughly around 36.
All right.
And we got smoked 6-1. How are we going to do against Memphis? I don't know, but stranger things have happened in the world of women's soccer. Don't you agree?
All right, so let me throw a thought out here. UNT wins tonight, right? So
I will shave my hair.
Okay, you heard it, guys. If UNT wins tonight, Jose Moreno is showing up to next week bald.
I will show up with a bald head.
What about the facial hair?
No, I'll keep that. I have to. I'm going to look like Heisenberg here.
Okay.
I am the man who knocks. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, UNT wins tonight. What does a win mean?
I think that means confidence building. That's really what it is. This team is still kind of young. A lot of freshmen, 8 freshmen have come in this year. Most of the team is sophomores. I'm going to say it right now, this team needs to build up wins against big teams. If they beat Memphis, that's one step closer to the island of relevancy for these girls. I do think if a win happens, it's a huge upset, but it builds confidence. Hey, we got 6-1 smashed by Texas Tech. We got the Raider rash, but we got back to Memphis, smoked them like jerky, and now we're going on to the next big game. I think we win, that builds confidence, and that builds a strong team culture.
Jalen, are we smoking any jerky tonight?
Are we?
We're not. Let's really look at who Memphis has beat this year. So they started off this season beating Southern University. In Southern University, they only have 1 win, all right? But then we faced Ole Miss, 4 wins, 2 losses, that 1 tie. Ohio State, 4 wins, 2 losses, that 1 tie. And their only loss, ladies and gentlemen, is against the number 7 team in the country, Alabama. 5 wins, 3 ties. So they haven't even lost. Let's put that out there. And then Iowa State, 3 wins, and then an inconsistent Kansas State. All right. Their worst win, of course, was against Southern University, but then besides that is Kansas State, a Power 5 school. And our only Power 5 game is against Texas Tech.
Right.
So just off the resume, early season, 7 games in or whatever it is, we will not be smoking any jerky tonight.
Okay.
I do think, because we do have some great offensive players, I do think we're going to get some goals up. I really think it's going to be like 4-2 in that range.
Okay.
But
they're not there yet.
No.
They're not
Memphis
there
is
yet.
going to control most of the game. I'm going to say that right now. But UNC, I feel like if they're going to start slow, most definitely, because they're not going to be used to the pace. And there are just a lot of great players on Memphis' side as well, with Sorla Miller, who has 5 goals and assists. Meyer Jones has 3 goals, 4 assists. And then Mo Monaco, who has 3 goals and assists. So they have some players on their side as well.
He brings up some great points. This is a scary Memphis offense. Maddie Ogden is going to be put to the freaking test. But, she's a rock between the sticks. You don't want to go one-on-one with her in the box. And I hope that Grace Dennis gets to come in and really play. Dennis is still young. She played incredibly in her first few games in the season, but she got injured around Tech, and she's been having a little slump, playing only 22 minutes, 30 minutes of her last few games. But I do think this is, it's a winnable game, but it's like a game that we're still like 30 steps away from winning. I wouldn't put us away from doing the upset, but I wouldn't, bet a McNugget on us winning,
I definitely agree. Might not be smoking any jerky tonight. So when we come back, we're going to talk about some NCAA eligibility rules, just going over some of that, so stay right with us.
Why should you join Talons?
We are very welcoming to people who may be a little bit hesitant. There's people currently right now in our organization who are in leadership positions who were hesitant before to join, and they found out that they just loved the organization and wanted to be a bigger part of it. They post about the football games, everything they're doing, all their events that they host.
What's the best part about Talons?
I would say meeting new people, because the university, while it's a kind of small campus in terms of like physical land, there's a ton of people here. And so getting to meet all these people who have so much school spirit and love for this university and want to spread that to other people, it's kind of like a little miniature family that we're in.
Hey man, are you okay in there? You look terrible. Have you been up all night? Don't you know that according to the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, staying up all night can have a negative effect on your GPA?
Sleep?
Yeah, go to bed.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Thursday Night Sports Zone. I'm here with Matthew Watson and Gabe Ife, and we are going to talk about NCAA rules eligibility rules. They've changed over the years, haven't they, guys? So first question I want to ask, the COVID year. So if you're playing around then, you get an extra year of eligibility just for coronavirus. What do you think about this, Matthew?
Well, I think it's good for the players that didn't really get to showcase who they were as a player, and it's something that's needed for those guys. But the guys who are on the teams that played like 10 games, I think it's kind of ridiculous that they get an extra season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you've shown your promise. Now you're probably on your 5th school or 6th school. What are we doing here? Why aren't we coaching high school football yet? Seriously, you're 26 years old. What do we do? The COVID eligibility year was a year for you to get better,
right?
And you didn't do that. So you didn't. It's just. I think it's unfair to the guys who have had those full 9-10 games and then, didn't get it, and they already went to the draft. They got undrafted. I just think it's unfair that those guys get to continue a football career while the guys went undrafted and paid the consequences. I don't know. I just think it's unfair.
Gabe, talk to me.
I think it was a smart thing to do the COVID year. And then I kind of disagree with your point because I do understand the players that did get the 10 games that year. However, I do think for the sake of the players on the teams that didn't get any games or had to sit out or had family, different extenuating circumstances, I do think they had to make it a level playing field for everybody. Now, do I think that they actually did that? Not really, because of somewhat what you said. But I think for the most part, it was a good thing that they did. And they handled it decently well to where everybody is getting an equal chance to continue to play. So.
Well, but just going off what you're saying, though, is like majority of those schools that got those 10 games were huge programs. Majority of those schools that didn't get those 10 games were lesser programs. So majority of those kids aren't going to even get drafted.
Right.
So, you're transferring either way at the end of the season if you're not going to get drafted. Or you're going into the draft, and guess what? You're not getting drafted. The CFL's on the other side.
Or they're coaching high school football.
Yeah, or they're coaching high school football or selling cars in a dealership.
Just so to bounce off that,
go for it.
To bounce off that point, just real fast. I think this also applied to since the other sports like college baseball.
It does apply to the other sports.
I think that in the scope of college football, it's not the best, but I do think for a lot of athletes that
for a lot of athletes, it benefited.
You do have to remember there are so many other sports. So. Prime example, we've been getting smoked by Frank Harris for 7 years now in San Antonio at UTSA. I mean, just smoked every game we play him. So what do we think specifically of his situation? He's in his 7th year. Now, UTSA is now a juggernaut in this conference. I mean, 7 years, is this getting excessive?
I think it's ridiculous. I mean, not only is he there for 7 years, but there's other players like Xavier Thomas, who was there when Justin Herbert got to Oregon. That's 2016, people. That's I don't really know how to count, but that's a lot of years ago. And, you have Tanner Mordecai. This is his 3rd school in 5 seasons. You got Cam McCormick, that was the guy who played with Herbert. He's at Miami now.
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous. You've played these 7 years. There's some circumstances academic-wise I can agree with, but no, come on. You finished your dream. Go coach or go do something else.
Gabe, what do you think about Frank Harris, 7th year at UTSA?
He also has all the records. All the records at UTSA. Of course he's going to have all the records. He's played there for 7 years.
7 years, right.
Okay, Gabe,
go for it, Gabe.
Thank you for letting me get to my point. I think this is not going to be that popular, but I do have to say he had a redshirt year 2017. Just looking at it, purely his case. He redshirted in 2017, which a lot of players redshirt. 2018, he was out the whole year with an injury. Right. 2019, he had 4 games, and then he was injured for the rest of the year.
Right.
Purely looking at that, and then with COVID happening, they give every player, like I mentioned earlier, I think it's to give everyone a chance. And because the NCAA granted him that extra year in 2019, we may not like it, but I think he's playing by the rules. I think it's fair.
He's playing by the rules, but the rules could be skewed.
And he's also a good player too. So it's another thing.
He torches us.
I mean, he's on the national front. People know him in the national media, and coaches know him in the NFL. I don't understand why he doesn't just take this shot.
Well, see, a big reason he might not is because he doesn't think he has a better shot in the NFL. He's getting his NIL opportunity, and then he'll still be able to take his shot next fall. So I think for himself, he's doing the best that he can do. And I think, per se, UNT had a quarterback like that.
Osinani.
Then I would, Osinani.
Yeah.
If he had a little better level, I think Frank Harris is better than him.
Yeah,
but if we had a Frank Harris, I would be happy because of it.
Yeah.
So.
We do love our Osinani.
Yes.
I mean, we do love him.
Yes.
So thank you guys so much for tuning into Sports Zone. We are going to be back next Thursday, same time. Tune in, Denton, Texas. Go watch news starting at 6 o'clock. That's in 1 minute. And follow us on our socials at NTTV_sports. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. Go Mean Green.